Got to put the bottom ones in first, otherwise there's no room to get them in. Alright guys, it's the alternator back on. I guess we get to find out if our belt we bought like 5 months ago is the right size. I'm going to do it from underneath, it's easier. Alright guys, our belt is back on. So if you remember, we had taken, this is the charge pipe right off the turbocharger. That just slips up in the, in the elbow we had installed in the previous video. This is the retainer clip. You can actually see the grooves where it latches in. This has to go back in the elbow, and then you can just push this up in. There's a little O-ring. So that charge pipe goes from there to up there. Now the circlip's in there, you can see what it does, how it works. I was able to get it on actually with one hand. It was just I had to really kind of twist my body around to where I could get a good torque on it, and then couldn't really hold the camera at the same time, especially not the light. So alright guys, as you can see, I did get that charge pipe on. It's that bracket I had to bend. I had bent it backwards the wrong way, then I had to finagle with it and get it right. But the bottom charge air pipe is on. I didn't bother recording this. I had to get that. So that is a effectively your boost controller. Controlled by the ECM, of course, but that has 3 vacuum and charge line or boost lines going from the intake to the wastegate and then the turbine of the compressor. So that was kind of a pain. Didn't bother recording that. That would have been impossible. Alright guys, you can see the difference between obviously just a dirty injector and a clean injector. Now this is just an external decarbonization of the injector. What we're going to do next is actually set up rig something up to where we can actually blow cleaner through the injector. So as you can see, I've got my lawnmower battery just kind of set up, hardwired to the injector. I've got a probe pinout kit. I don't expect you guys to have something like this. I have 2 different sizes that just fit the pins on these things. You can even see down in there. Probably not. The lighting in here is killing me. Anyway. So traditionally, on your injector, you just hook 12 volts up. Usually, I used to use my power probe, but I only have a Gen 3 power probe, and I guess these new injectors, the stratified fuel injection, it's kind of a pulse width thing. So it's got like a pre-metered solenoid in there on the circuit. So it only kicks on for a split second. So you just get a spritz of fuel. So you really can't get a good idea of the pattern. Also, I don't really have any extra hose set up to rig up a little deal. It's hard to explain this. You'd get hose that fits over here and then meters down to that, and you'd press the nozzle down and you'd get you'd keep a constant pressure on the line, then you fire off the injector. You can hear it do its thing when I put neutral to it. It's used to getting very specific voltages, so hooking just straight 12 volts to it isn't really going to necessarily hurt anything, but it does open it for a split second, but it's tricky. I've been kind of putting brake, kind of getting brake clean down in there, and I do have some compressed air, and I clean this really good, the end anyway, and I just kind of keep a constant pressure, and just you get a couple spritzes into the jar, but at least cleaning these things off. You always worry about a little grit and grime falling into the ports, and you don't want to just put that right back into the motor. Is that big of a deal? Kind of is, kind of isn't. It's just one little thing I like to do, just to make sure everything's, I do my best to make sure everything's clean. I do need to buy an actual modern fuel injector cleaner. That is on the list. It's just not something I necessarily need to spend the money on right now. So I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning these best I can. I just started to install the intake and then realized I forgot to put these freaking studs in. But I had noticed one of the bolts kind of slid right in, and has some pulled threads. It's got thread left, but so I'm going to order a longer bolt. So we're in luck. I had talked about ordering another bolt. That was the right thread pitch and everything, but a little bit longer to grab those extra the threads that were further in the head. And I thought about it, since this new head came with the studs, I just took the an extra stud out of the old cylinder head. And you can see it's considerably longer. So you might be able to see at some point somebody tried to, looks like they tried to back probe these wires to get some kind of a voltage reading. There's something I noticed when I was taking the harness apart. I'm just going through and just doing some cleaning up this harness really good, because there was a lot of oil. There was a lot of oil on all these connectors, and a lot of the heat a lot of the wire loom was all broken apart and cracked and everything. So I'm just going through and fixing a lot of this stuff up before I go back together with it. Again, like I said, I had noticed the zoom back in. And I had noticed some open copper. You know, down here in the south, not the end of the world, but you definitely don't want that. It's not going to get any better. So I uncoupled this. These plugs are a little, not really tricky. Make sure you look at the plug and then look at it again before you jump into. I was stupid. I didn't realize there was this retainer. You've got to pull out. You got to pull out, and then you can use your terminal tool. I've already got the one out. Yeah, of course I was sitting there fighting with it before I realized I had to take that out. I'm like, man, what is going on here? Every connector is a little different. They're supposed to be, you know, standardized stuff, but it is what it is. Some have something like this. They have a retainer, plus you still have to use a tool to pull these little clips out. Some do not. Use your terminal tool. It's a double spade style. Pop that down in there. See if I can zoom in. Pop that down in there, like so. And on the back side, simply pull the wire out. Pull your tool out. And then you can see what's going on. There's little tangs that pop out on either side. So you can get in there with a pick and kind of spread them back out. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and basically just kind of clean this out with I'm going to clean these out with electrical cleaner and then use heat shrink. The reason I pulled these out of the plug is I want to use heat shrink versus just trying to wrap these in electrical tape. You can take your time and do it that way with electrical tape, but I prefer to actually just heat shrink these so it's completely sealed. So you want to be somewhat careful with this stuff. Be very delicate. Don't get in a rush. Pay mind to that little orange weather packing. Oh, dang it. Oh, no, we're good. That one's pretty good on that side anyway. Alright, we're good. Alright, so brown wood on the bottom. So you can see, goes up and in, and I probably didn't hear that, very quiet. Same on red, red goes on top. There you go. Put our connector back in. And we're good. Again, guys, this is just one small extra thing we've done to this car. I mean, the list just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but I mean, that's what you do. It just can't hurt to use a little bit of dielectric grease. It's not the stuff I like to use, but it's stuff I got laying around. And a little bit is better than nothing. There we go. Put that back together. So I'm just putting a dab of dielectric grease on each terminal. Nice positive click. Make it a little easier getting it, because you're seating the intake to the cylinder head at the same time the injectors are being pressed into the bores of the rail. Nice and easy. There we go. I felt perfect. I about felt every injector seat. Throw a bolt in here. I've got plenty of thread on that stud, so that worked out great, guys. I didn't have to wait a week to get a special bolt. I'm just gonna throw two in the top just to hold it.